Live from the St. Louis Arena in St. Louis, Missouri, Sports Channel presents New York Islanders hockey. Tonight, the Islanders take on the St. Louis Blues. Hi again, everyone. I'm Jigs McDonald with Ed Westfall. The Islanders completing a road trip tonight, invading the arena in St. Louis, where they were beaten by a score of 8-0. Their only other trip in here, embarrassed really, I guess would be a better word. The Blues are one of the best teams at home this season. In fact, the best home record in this Norris division.
Norris division that sees a lot of teams very close together. 6 points is all the St. Louis Blues are now behind the Detroit Red Wings, who of course have led the Norris division all season long. Good opportunity for St. Louis if they can keep going, take advantage of the poor play that Detroit is going through right now.
Announcer of our time,
the crowd
Dan
here
Kelly.
at the arena in St. Louis being asked to rise for a moment of silence in memory of the late Dan Kelly, who passed away yesterday morning. For 20 seasons, the broadcaster for the St. Louis Blues.
Our heartfelt sympathies are extended to the members of the Kelly family.
Vivian Pickard with her rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. And you look at Kelly Rudy, set to go to work for the Islanders. A career record of 4 wins, a loss, and a tie against the Blues, and a lifetime 2.13 goals against average. On this season, it works out to a 3.88. 15, 22, and 3. Greg Millen shut out the Islanders their last trip here. Millen comes into tonight's game with a 3.52 goals against average, 5 shutouts this season. Career record against the Islanders while playing for the Blues: 3 wins, 5 losses, 3 ties, and a 2.65. Mike Magoo will referee tonight's game. He'll be joined by Pat Tapuzzo and Dan Shakti as the linesman assigned by the National Hockey League. Our first opportunity to see Mike Magoo work an NHL game live. I've seen him on television a couple of times. He's out of Western Canada, born in Regina. He's recently worked in the Western Junior Hockey League as a linesman. And the Blues clearing the puck down into the Islanders zone off McKegney's stick. It's moved around this left side, and Makela to Delgarno just wheeled it out of the zone, and there's Roberts back for St. Louis. Gordy Roberts stumps one in off the boards. Jeff Norton steps from back of the net. Played it out into center ice as LaFontaine was trying to recover a glove. The Blues put it down into the Islanders zone, but collision back of the play. Offside being called, and we take a look at who's not in tonight's hockey game.
Tonight in scratch for the Islanders, Ken Morrow again tonight. Dean Chenoweth, obviously, he's been out all season. Brad Lauer, surprise scratch. Reed Larson and Mick Vakota. For the St. Louis Blues, Craig Cox has been scratched. Todd Ewing is nursing a hamstring pull. Gingras has a sore back. Well, Herb Ragland has also been scratched.
Now Al Arbor setting Brent Sutter to center ice. Patrick Flatley on the left side and David Volek on the right. Bergevin and Diddick, the Islander defense combination. Zezel taking the draw as Brett Hull on the right side. And over on left wing, Steve Tuttle. The puck cleared into the center ice zone off Zezel, goes in after it. Zezel without a stick is taken into the boards by Brent Sutter. There's Brett Hull trying to dig it off the boards. Hull gets tied up with Bergevin. The puck comes loose. It's in the skates of Hull. Brett kicks it along the boards on this near side. And there's Patrick Flatley for the Islanders. To Brent Sutter. Up to David Volek. Volek steps over the line, working on Lawler. A shot cleared aside by Millen. Diddick with it on the right wing. Puts it back of the net. Paul Cavallini there for the Blues. Clears it around the boards and down the ice. It went off Diddick, so there will be no icing. Kelly Rudy plays it right through the center ice area. Here's Patrick Flatley with it now. Flatley to Volek on the left side. His shot, a glove save by Millen. Dropped the puck. And the Blues are able to start out with it. Paul Cavallini played it behind Brett Hull. Rudy banks it around the boards here on the left side. It went off Fedorko to Richter. His shot is steered off the stick of Rudy and on into the seats.
Open hockey game so far. Pretty good skating game. Look at Dave Richter. Fired from Vancouver in exchange for Robert Nordmark back in September of '88. Also made the alternate captain at the start of the season.
Look at the St. Louis coaching staff.
Like they should be both out playing the game rather than coaching it.
Ryan Sutter barking some instructions to his team. Joe Micheletti, the assistant coach on the bench. Bob Berry Also, an assistant coach watches from the press box and relays information back and forth.
They'll be leaving immediately after this game for Buffalo, where they'll be tomorrow.
Now Trottier with the puck at center has dumped it in. Derek King over on right wing. Trottier picks it up. Hit the outside of the net with that shot. It goes off the glass. Fedorko trying to move it ahead for Brian Benning. Benning gets checked at his own end of the ice. Here's Janssen with it. He got turned around in the play, and out come the Blues. Fedorko at center ice. Kozlowski trailing, picks up the pass, went to center one, it hit Nyland. And Janssen comes back for the Islanders. Got it to center to Trottier. Blues play it back into their own zone. Benning just dumps it out to center ice. Janssen back to Pilon. Up to King, could not get a stick on it. Fedorko does. Steps over the line on left wing, lets one go, and that drifted wide of the net. Rudy cutting it off as he came around the boards. Here's Greg Paslowski. Trottier slowed him up. Now the puck loose on the right side. Alan Kerr has it. Fedorko goes back of the net. Janssen there as well. Fedorko gets knocked down, and Janssen whistles his puck into the corner. Tilly to Gino Cavallini, played it around the boards, and Richard Pilon has dumped it out to center ice. Roberts chases it back for the Blues. There's no score. We played 3 minutes of the opening period. Gordy Roberts comes to center. Rudy cuts it off back of the net, plays it away from Pilon. Mahar is there. Mahar centered one, but Messel's shot just went wide of the net. Here's Tilly playing it into the corner. Lift Ronning out for the Blues. Got checked by Norton. Comes back to the point. Tilly with a shot deflected into the goal mouth, and there's Pilon up with it. Pilon failed to clear the zone, however. Loose puck again on the left wing boards, and Pilon dumps it into center ice. Roberts is back. Gordy Roberts turning, got away from Wood, lays it to the right side. This is Momesso across the line. Bumped by Greg Gilbert. The puck went to Ronning. His shot seemed to change up on him as he flipped it toward the net. It's grabbed and held by Rudy. There is no score in the opening period. You're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel. For a face-off from the circle to the left of Kelly Rudy. Tony Herkus on the draw with Pat LaFontaine. Islanders up with the puck. Diddick. A check by Herkus. McKegney right there as well. And now Diddick dumps one to center ice. Cavallini for the Blues. Spotted McKegney moving over the line. He was taken off the puck by Bergevin. This is Diddick. Gerald Diddick shoots it from his own side of center ice. Goes round the boards. Diddick get after it, so there will be no icing on the play.
That's like the kicker recovering his own boot.
Exactly. Lawler got tangled up with LaFontaine as he tried to play it around behind the net. Goaltender screaming and yelling, and now referee Mike Magoo calls the play, goes back to take a look at the net, and it is indeed off the magnet. So the referee replaces that, and we'll get ready for a face-off. There's Whistler's mother all over this arena tonight.
Goodness.
Wow. We'll have every dog in the county over here.
Yeah, well, strange things in these headsets some nights.
Both teams making a couple of changes here as Hull comes back out along with Zezel and Tuttle for St. Louis. It'll be Brent Sutter with Patrick Flatley and David Volek for the Islanders. Blues have only lost 2 of their last 12 home games. Most recent, their last game at home on Thursday night when Calgary beat them by a score of 5-3. Nyland playing the puck up the left side. Flatley goes to the boards. He and Paul Cavallini bumping, and here's Hull. He was the only St. Louis representative in Tuesday night's All-Star game. Hull across the line, pulled up on Janssen, left it for Tuttle, and his shot blocked by Nyland. Now Cavallini goes to center one, put it back of the net to Zezel, out in front. What a save by Rudy on Brett Hull. Janssen all over Hull at the time, but a sensational stop by Rudy. Lawler, just recently acquired from the Montreal Canadiens, has given it to Zezel. His pass deflected to the left wing boards. Up with it is Peter Zezel. Into the Islanders zone. The former Flyer dropped it to Tuttle, and Brent Sutter checked him. Here's Patrick Flatley coming over center ice. As Volek with him has given the puck to David Volek. Volek pulls off the boards, getting away from Richter. Centered one, steered aside by Millen. Pilon with it. Lets it go, and it hit the post. Hit the inside of the post, bounced right back out again. And Volek, crashing into Zezel, frees up the puck at center ice for Norton. Back forward is Sutter. He's given it to Pilon. To David Volek. Volek's pass was blocked by Fedorko. Trottier picks up a loose puck. Dumps it into the corner. Back for it is Brian Benning on the Blues defense. Benning, a giveaway. Coming in on goal is Kerr. A backhander. Blocked and held by Millen. The Islanders getting some scoring chances. You're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel.
You have to be good to be lucky, and vice versa. Here, the New York Islanders get some opportunities. Look here as Kerr goes in. Millen moves across, makes the save, rattles it off both legs. He made the stop. Hull had an opportunity. Here's the pass from Zezel. There's the shot. What a stop by Kelly Rudy from close in off Brett Hull.
And Mark Bergevin just hit the goalpost, gets another one away that's blocked in front. Harry King and Richter go to the corner together. The puck comes loose. Gino Cavallini has cleared it out for the Blues. That's Bergevin chasing it back for the Islanders. Bergevin played it to the right side. Kerr flipped it off the boards. There's Benning with a shot. Blocked in front and cleared by Diddick. Richter back into his own zone for the Blues. King into forecheck has knocked the puck loose. Kerr after it. King there as well. Neither one able to pick it up. Good job by the Blues tightening up and clearing it out to center ice. Bergevin back with the pass now to King. King across the line. Flipped it through in front. Steered aside by Millen. Recovered by Trottier. Trottier turns. Went to center one that was blocked by Richter. Now he puts it out in front and scooped it up and held by goaltender Greg Millen.
Islanders continue to put pressure on the St. Louis Blues in their own end of the ice. Couple of goalposts by Islander defensemen. This time it's Derek King. He turns, waits, then lays the puck back into the front of the net. Millen does a very poor job of clearing it. Kind of flips it up in the air. Intercepted by Brian Trottier, and twice he tries to put the puck back in front. Richter, number 5, intercepted one. And then Bernie Federico, number 24, got his stick on the other. Millen has heard the goalposts ringing to him twice in this game already. And Alan Kerr was in all alone on it.
Went to the 5-hole that appeared to be open. And Millen moved just enough, as you said, off both legs.
Well, you could hear rattle off the inside of both ankles. We'll have to put ice on them between periods.
Now Tilley at center ice puts the puck in the Islander zone. It'll be picked up by Jeff Norton. And play is called. Face-off is being brought back out into the center ice area. Apparently an offside being delayed and eventually called by linesman Dan Shakti. Portions of tonight's game are being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for the distinctively clean, crisp taste that makes Budweiser the king of beers. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Rob DeMaio centering for Randy Wood and Greg Gilbert. On defense, it's Pilon and Norton. Blues putting the puck in the Islander zone. Rudy slowed it up. Pilon steps in front of his man. And DeMaio takes it back in the net. Momesso is out with Ronning and Mahar for the Blues. This is Sergio Momesso. It's knocked off his stick by DeMaio. Tilley picked it up at center ice. Plays it across to the left side for Mahar, and he stepped over the line with Ronning ahead of him. Offside.
One of the goalposts that the Islanders hit, one of the shots, I should say, from Richard Pilon. Last night at this point in the hockey game against the Chicago Blackhawks, Richard was in his second 5-minute major for fighting. Goalpost he hit tonight. Bergevin, the other Islander to hit the goalpost. Here's the shot by Richard Pilon. There's the puck as you see it going back out. He just rifles it back. Millen's looking for it. He looked to the left. The puck hit the goalpost to the right. It was the noise that alerted Millen to the fact that the puck was behind him.
Puck went right over the glass following the face-off, so they'll do it again in the center ice zone. A little less than 13 minutes remaining in the opening period. The Blues come calling at the Nassau Coliseum this coming Thursday. The Islanders go home to meet the Edmonton Oilers on Tuesday, then St. Louis on Thursday, and Philadelphia next Saturday at 5. Blues are out shooting the Islanders 4-3 at this stage of the game. Johnson with a pass off LaFontaine's stick. It's loose in the St. Louis zone. He's in after it. Now it's being called back. That too was offside.
I suppose the last time it was December the 1st these two teams met. St. Louis had a picnic, 8-0. Only one player had 2 goals in that game. Cliff Ronning, speedster, the Mighty Mite, had 2 goals in the hockey game. I suppose it would be almost fair to say that that might have been the beginning of the end for Terry Simpson.
Yeah, the Islanders were certainly uninspired that night. McKegney takes the puck, puts one out in front of the Islander goal. Centered in front, Herkus with a shot. Rudy the save, and there's a penalty call coming. Brad Delgarno taking Herkus down in front of the net, and Delgarno will go off for hooking. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel.
The Islanders into the ice, a backhand pass by Evans. There's the hook. Brad Delgarno, as he put the stick on Tony Herkus, goes to the penalty box. St. Louis power play is ranked 17th in the league against the Islanders' penalty killing, which hasn't improved from its 21 position.
3 of the 8 goals in the previous game came on St. Louis power plays. There were 3 for 4 that night. Right now, with Delgarno off the ice, the Islanders trying to kill it off with Wood and DeMaio up front. Bergevin and Didick on defense. Benning rushes the puck in over the line. Lays it around the boards. This is Tony Herkus. Feeds the blue line. Oh, rips one off the glass and on into the seats. Boy, when he pulls up that stick back, a big shot like his dad's, only Bobby's from the left side, Brett from the right. Can he shoot the puck?
Yes, he can. One of his many attributes is his shot. He timed it perfectly. A hard shot low to the left corner to the right of Kelly Rudy, and he kicks it on up into the seats. Take a look again as St. Louis put their power play into motion. No one in front of the net. Kelly Rudy did get a good look at it. And from the blue line, very few players can breeze it by an NHL goaltender.
Fedorko on the face-off with Brent Sutter. The draw comes back toward the line. Was cleared by Sutter to Flatley. Puts it into St. Louis zone. That's Brent Sutter going in after it. Pulls it away from Benning. Back to Flatley. Fired one toward the net that missed. Comes to the right wing boards. Picked up by Hull. Hull over the line with Ronning. Hull bumped from behind by Sutter. And here's Flatley. He just ups it down the ice. 1 minute, 8 seconds remaining in Delgarno's hooking penalty. There is no score as Brian Benning starts out for St. Louis. Benning being bothered by DeMaio as he got to center. Put it behind the Islander net. Rudy left it for Norton. He turned it over to Fedorko waiting at the point. This is Hull trying to get some skating room. Drops it back to Benning. Now to Herkus. Right back to Benning. Across to Fedorko. Ronning circling in front of the net as the puck comes back to Herkus. Into Ronning. Tipped away by Pilon. Ronning picks it up back of the net. Pilon bumped Hull as the pass goes to Fedorko. Fedorko at the edge of the circle. Looks for somebody in the open. Holds the puck, backs up a little, still can't get anybody open, then fed it into Ronning. Ronning from behind the net. Now comes back to the near side. Chased away by Norton as he gave it to Benning. Into Ronning. Once more for Benning. Lets one go. Was blocked in front. Here's Hull, and he shot it wide. Checked at the last second. Ronning went to center one, and it's Pilon knocking it away from Fedorko. 3 seconds left in this power play. Blues go back to the net. Ronning takes it from Herkus, headers it back. Brian Benning with a shot. Rudy got a chunk of that, and there's no further plays. Got it in the catching glove.
One shot on goal, the one by Hull at the beginning of the power play. They did get one as Delgarno returned from the penalty box. Back to the point position, the shot by Benning, caught by Kelly Rudy. Again, the Islanders doing a good job letting and allowing Kelly Rudy a good view of the puck, getting the forwards of the St. Louis Blues out of the way. You can see St. Louis, one of the problems they have, like many of the power plays in the league, standing around a little too much. They move the puck, but they're not moving their feet.
Now Trottier taking the face-off for the Islanders. He and Mahar do battle, and the puck ends up in the stick of Bergevin. Marc Bergevin plays it up through the middle, out of the reach of Trottier. It's loose in the St. Louis zone. That's Kerr going in after it. Alan Kerr gets to the puck first, avoiding an icing. Centered out at the side of the goal and ends up in the far corner. Gordy Roberts. The pass into center ice. Tilley goes to the left side. Paslowski gets checked on the boards by Trottier. Derek King going after it, was knocked off balance. Loose puck. Bodies flying all over the place, and finally Rudy steps back to the net and gives it to Didick. Now to Bergevin. Bumps Mahar. Loose puck for Alan Kerr. Kerr carries it over center. 3 Blues drop back as he dumps it in around the boards. Millen cuts it off. Left it for his defenseman, who turned it over to King. Went to center one, and it was blocked neatly by Tilley. Tilley made the initial faux pas and then came back to cover up. A hard shot off the blocking glove of Rudy. Norton waits, plays it up the right side to Trottier. Trottier and Kerr. Trottier gets over the line, bumping Lawler. Plays it into the corner. Nothing doing there for the Islanders. Peter Zezel lugs it to center ice. Played it up the left side for Cavallini. Gino Cavallini centers. There's Pilon playing it to the boards. Hull drops it back to the point. That's knocked away by Kern. He's taken down. Play allowed to continue. Magoo indicating it was a dive on the part of the Islander forward, Alan Kerr. Now the Blues clear the puck into the Islander zone. Nyland back for it. We have 8.5 minutes to go in the opening period. No score here at St. Louis. Thomas Johnson plays it in around the boards. Millen out of the net. Flips it into the corner. Makela waiting for it. Played it to the side of the goal, and it's cleared out by Cavallini. Johnson hustling back. Johnson and Nyland together on defense. LaFontaine with Makela and Delgarno up front. This is Nyland knocking the puck out of the air. Paul Cavallini picks it up at center ice. Gave it to Brett Hull. Steps over the line with Fedorko. Hull trying to cut in. Goes back to the net. Out with a backhander blocked by Rudy. The rebound loose. Rudy down, and it's back in. Mike Lawler picks up a loose puck. The defenseman comes in, gets his first goal as a St. Louis Blue, and it's 1-0 for the home team.
The ex-Montreal Canadian just acquired by St. Louis for future considerations. Here's Hull, my guest at the end of the second period. Trying to be tracked down by a couple of Islanders. He makes the play back to the front of the net. Seems to be there for a long time. There's Lawler going to the backhand. Kelly Rudy committed. It's in the net. A 1-0 St. Louis lead as Hull started things out at the blue line. Everything seemed to be covered, or everybody seemed to be covered, as you see Delgarno on Cavallini, number 14. But coming in from the point position, grabbing the loose puck and putting it in, is Mike Lawler.
His first goal is the St. Louis Blue, his second of the season, coming at 12:04, and it's 1-0 St. Louis. Hull and Paul Cavallini get the assists. Islanders putting the puck into the St. Louis zone, wide of the net. Brent Sutter after it, it's knocked away from him, ends up at center ice. This is Volek. Slipped away from the check, carries it over center ice. On into the St. Louis zone. He runs into the boards, running into Richter as well. Now Brent Sutter comes out of the corner. Played it away from Fedorko to Flatley to Sutter. His shot off his skate in front of the net as it hit Benning. Diddick lets one go that's tipped wide of the net. Flatley played it to the side of the goal. That's cleared away. Cavallini for the Blues. Sends Fedorko over center ice. Kozlowski here on the right wing board slowed up, and that gave Bergevin a chance to move it out to center ice to Flatley. Can't get it back to Volek on left wing. Now Diddick picks up a loose puck. Backhands it in. That's Benning going back for the Blues. A little less than 7 minutes to play in the opening period. Benning, long pass to Cavallini at center ice. Plays it deep into the Islanders zone. Rudy leaves it for Jeff Norton. To Gilbert, and went off his skates. Chasing it is Pilon. He took the man. The puck goes loose, but Norton is there. Norton played one up the left side. That was blocked. Herkus drops it back to the point. Roberts into Herkus. Centered one out in front of McKegney's shot goes high. Herkus once more. He gets out of the corner as McKegney is struggling to kick the puck away from Norton. Did right to Pilon, then to DeMaio. Ran into Roberts, and here's Herkus. Herkus with Evans circling in front of the net. Rudy steers it aside. Evans was knocked down by Pilon. It's twice now that Evans has gone to the deck thanks to Richard Pilon. The Islanders moving it into center ice, but the Blues are back. Herkus over to the left side for Roberts. Shot it wide of Kelly Rudy. McKegney in after it is bumped down by Derek King as the puck went back of the net. Here's Evans centering. McKegney's shot is wide. Puck ends up in the corner. Herkus gives it to Evans. DeMaio stepped in front of him. Now it's Norton playing it toward the corner for DeMaio. He just turns, can't clear it out as Roberts comes in from the blue line. Roberts and Wood go to the corner. The puck comes out in front. Norton knocks it away. Now it's centered again and banged in by Evans. Evans, who had taken a lot of punishment from Pilon, has made it 2-0.
Standing about 25 feet in front of Kelly Rudy, unprotected. Evans one-times it. There he takes the pass here. Lets it fly. It goes between the legs of Kelly Rudy through the 5-hole. And it's a 2-0 hockey game. Evans, Roberts will get an assist. The defenseman was well down in the corner, making the play to Evans. Brett Hall also to get an assist.
And Roberts, as you had forecast, gets the goal at 14:29. It's only the 7th of the season for Evans, and 2-0 St. Louis. Puck is deflected out of play, and the clock stopped with 5:15 left in the period. We pause now for a regional.
2 assists in the game so far tonight. He had an assist in the All-Star game on Tuesday in Edmonton.
Now Trottier putting the puck in the St. Louis zone. Millen blocked it, then falls over backwards, looked behind him casually, turned and looked into the net, didn't he?
Isn't it? We always get a kick out of goaltenders. Of course, they don't know where the puck is. They know they've misplayed it. Somehow, it has to be nearby. And the first instinct, they all have. Every goaltender will do it. He'll look back in the net. Trottier in the center ice area lets it fly. A long shot, 100 feet almost, say 95. Millen looks over his shoulder, then he looks at his teammates. Generally, they do that. They'll look over their shoulder to see if it's in the net. Then they'll look at whoever's coming toward them, and that'll tell them where the puck is if it's not underneath them.
Trottier, who has not had a point in the last 6 games, got that opportunity. Now the puck freed from Millen as he was down, knocked loose, and the Blues come up with it. Mahar carries it to center ice. Ricky Mahar putting it in the Islanders zone. Sergio Momesso went after it. Bergevin stepped in front of him, and it's Trottier giving it to Kerr on right wing. Out to Derek King. Lost it to Ronning at center. Gino Cavallini for the Blues to Momesso, and he backhands it into the Islander territory. Gerald Diddick back, plays it up the boards. Comes loose for Kerr, and he runs into Benning, but now a hand pass is being called. You're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel.
4 shifts of the hockey game, it's pretty well been all St. Louis. 5 minutes, under 5 minutes to play in the first period.
11-6, shots on goal, favor of the Blues. They're up 2-0 on goals by Lawler and Evans. Blues put the puck in the Islander zone and went off Rudy's stick. Pilon went after it. Now this is Cliff Ronning, bobbing and weaving. They call him the little water bug here in St. Louis. Puck goes loose. Mahar after it, knocked it away from Norton, rounds the net on the backhand and couldn't control the puck. Mahar loses it to Norton. Now to Makela. Makela to LaFontaine over the line on right wing around Mahar. Has to chase a loose puck, however, and Benning got to it. Delgarno feeds it back to the point. Norton plays it around the boards in the St. Louis zone. Momesso took a look at Makela, and then the puck is cleared to center ice. Norton to Makela. Pulls up. Benning ran into him. Delgarno puts it in the St. Louis zone. Millen leaves it there for Richter. Dave Richter flips it up through center ice on into the Islander zone, into the skates of Patrick Flatley. Bangs it off the boards, and the Blues have to go back for it. It went right to Millen. Steered it to Roberts. Into the center ice area. Fedorko feeds Paslowski on right wing. Centered one. Rudy makes the save. Gave it to Volek. Back through some Islander traffic to Bergevin. Mark Bergevin to Brent Sutter. Steps into the St. Louis zone. Played it to the boards, but out of the reach of Flatley. Now Tilly going back in the net. Moves it to the corner. And out come the Blues. And again, it's Captain Bernie Fedorko with the puck. Fedorko over the line with Paslowski, and they move in offside. Little less than 3 minutes to play in the opening period. 2-0 Blues, and you're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel. And Ed Westfall here at the arena in St. Louis. Trottier out on the face-off. Kerr on one side, King on the other. Norton handling the puck as he ran into Gino Cavallini. Skied one high and wide of the Blues net, and that's going to be called back on an icing. Coming up in our first intermission, some memories of Dan Kelly. One of the young fans with binoculars. First 7,500 youngsters arriving at the arena tonight. Each received a pair of souvenir binoculars.
Mom and Dad saying, get back here with the binoculars and sit down. Dad saying, now, Mom, don't be too hard on him. He's just a young fella. Wants to get close to the ice. He wants to see the action up close. Why can't you be like your other brother and just sit still?
Family night at the arena. Fedorko on the draw with Trottier. This is Norton from back of the goal. Plays it through center off Tilley's stick. It'll be picked up by Roberts. Banked it to the left wing. Fedorko dumps it on into the Islander territory, and Norton was there to Trottier. Kozlowski bumps him, and here's Fedorko. To Roberts, plays it wide of Rudy. Gino Cavallini went in after it, and it's King flipping one high over the glass and out of play. Still a little more than 2 minutes to play in this opening period.
Islanders having a lot of problems in their own end of the ice. Again, Kelly Rudy doing a good job. Though 2 goals getting by him. Islanders just seem to be so disorganized. They get the puck. There's a good indication. Derek King all the way back behind the net, trying to control the puck. He ends up shooting it up into the seats. First of all, it would have to make you wonder, what are you doing back there, Derek King? There's some of the Islander fans that are here. We had a group of them in Chicago last night. They're here again in St. Louis on an extended road trip.
Were you going to read the list of names tonight?
I didn't think we were allowed to do that.
Oh. Bergevin with the puck has given it to Makela. Mikko draws a crowd as he went back of the net, and Brett Hull picks up a loose puck. Centered it, but it's knocked away by LaFontaine as Zezel was waiting. Across the line is Makela into LaFontaine. It's knocked away from him by Cavallini. Makela gets knocked down in the corner. Tuttle is checked, and play is called. It'll be a hand pass charged here, so a face-off coming back in the St. Louis zone.
The voice wouldn't hold up for the length of the list. I mean, there must have been 25 people at the game in Chicago from Long Island, or for Islander fans anyway. Some of them are here again tonight.
Yeah, they've all made the trip on to St. Louis to take in this weekend series, Friday and Saturday nights. Puck played into the corner. Lawler with it. Lawler opened the scoring tonight. Evans has the other St. Louis goal as the Blues lead the Islanders 2-0. Diddick picks up a rolling puck. Plays it cross ice off the boards into the Blues zone. Paul Cavallini takes it back in the net and waits there. Zezel turns over on left wing. Cavallini flips it out into center ice. Picking up his Hull, and it got away from him. Hull in after it. Can't kick it in front. Tuttle tied up now with Diddick. There's Zezel. Peter Zezel put it right in front. Brett Hull reaching for it. Volek steps in front of him. Bergevin takes Hull into the boards, and Volek sends it to Makela. Out to LaFontaine. He and Lawler chase it. Lawler tied up by Pat LaFontaine. Tuttle for St. Louis now to Peter Zezel. Cross to Brett Hull. And off the heel of his stick, he picks it up and shoots it wide of Rudy with a minute to go in the opening period. Here's Jeff Norton starting out of the zone. Norton with a pass just out of the reach of Flatley, and that's going to be called back. The rule Flatley did touch it, but he was standing inside the St. Louis blue line. So a whole long list of errors in this opening period tonight. Just nothing clicking in any form, except the goaltending perhaps of Kelly Rudy. He has made a couple of big stops. Millen early on, it was almost similar to last night in Chicago when Millen was tested regularly early in the game. Last night we saw the goalkeeper there, Chevrier, tested regularly.
Well, throughout the Islanders game, or throughout the game last night, the Islanders, at least, they were getting some scoring opportunities on a fairly regular basis against Chevrier. But here, look out.
Best chance again is Volek's opportunity, and Millen just stood there. Went to the knees and covered the puck.
Well, he beat Alan Kerr when Kerr got in all alone, and that time it was David Volek having a discussion right now about that. Tony Herkus, take a look as the Islander defenseman Jeff Norton across the line. Beautiful play by Norton as he springs Volek through the middle. See the save made by Millen. Millen, his last start was the 5-4 win in Chicago on Sunday. He had a string of shutouts. 3 games plus, I think, wasn't it, this season?
Yeah, he's had 5 zeros. Richter has gone to the penalty box for holding after the play there. Millen made the save off David Volek. So the first power play chance of for the night for the New York Islanders comes here in the last minute of the period. Delgarno, Makela, LaFontaine, Norton, and Diddick. LaFontaine won the draw, but it went back into the Islanders zone, and Diddick takes it from Rudy, plays it around to Jeff Norton. Up to Makela. Held it, then gave it to Diddick as he broke out of the zone. On into the St. Louis territory. Diddick going in on the right wing boards. Put it in front. Delgarno got checked. Diddick with it again. Back to Delgarno. To the point for Norton, and it gets away from him. Jeff Norton hounded on the play by Tuttle. The puck is underneath Tuttle. Now comes loose, and Norton brings it to center ice. Jeff Norton checked from behind. Stepping over the line is Zezel, but he runs out of time. That'll be it for the opening period. So still a minute and 22 seconds left in Richter's penalty when they go back to action again. But St. Louis will go to the dressing room with a 2-0 lead. Evans getting their second goal, his 7th of the year, but they celebrated earlier when recently acquired defenseman Mike Lawler got his first for the Blues. That came at the 12:04 mark. So at the end of one period in St. Louis, the score is the Blues 2 and the Islanders no score. We'll be back with the recap of the opening 20 minutes of play right after these messages. For the last couple of years, but things in St. Louis and especially Blues hockey just won't be the same without the man whose voice created Kelly's Corner. And I refer to a longtime friend and colleague, Dan Kelly, who passed away yesterday morning after a 5-month battle with cancer. I knew the man for many years. We were friends and colleagues, even going back to the days in Ontario. Then in the spring of 1968, Dan Kelly came to St. Louis to be the radio and television voice of the Blues. Later on, of course, becoming basically the voice of the National Hockey League. On all the television, both network television and cable over the past years, all the Stanley Cup finals, all the big playoff games, of course, the Rendezvous Series and so many more covered by Dan Kelly. In his 21st season of broadcasting for the Blues, he was diagnosed in September as having a tumor. It was inoperable and time was short. And Friday, Dan passed away. But in the first week of January, the National Hockey League honored Dan Kelly. He was named one of the co-recipients of the Lester Patrick Award, an award annually presented to those who have done so much for hockey in this country. At a gala dinner at the Marriott Hotel in downtown St. Louis, some of the greats on hand included St. Louis broadcasters. Jack Buck is the master of ceremonies, and such people as Dan Dierdorf and Bob Costas. Some of our memories from that night, we'll pick it up with Bob Costas and his thoughts on hockey and Dan Kelly.
Do you know how hard it is to broadcast hockey? The sport was not made to be broadcast. Somebody once said that a broadcast, even a good broadcast of a hockey game, just sounds like a 3-hour-long mistake. There's only one man who can sort it out with such ringing clarity, and that man is Dan Kelly. Because as great a broadcaster as he is, that's how great a guy he's always been to every one of us. There isn't a young broadcaster with whom he wasn't generous with his advice and with his counsel and with his support. And there is no one in this room who thinks of Dan Kelly as a disembodied voice. Everyone in this room roots for him as they would root for a member of their own family. Thank you all for being here.
The turnout in this room tonight, I think, is indicative as to the strength of his personality, the strength of his friendship, and just the good feelings, the smile that involuntarily crosses your face when you pick up the phone and it's Dan on the other end, or you find yourself at a cocktail party off in a corner talking to Dan Kelly. And this turnout tonight, Dan, this bud is for you, this evening is for you, and understand that all of us in this room, and just speaking for me, I love you very much. Thank you.
When you're in sports and you're over a long period of time, you meet a lot of friends and you meet a lot of, I guess, unfortunately, a few enemies, but not with Dan Kelly, because I think everyone that has come in contact with Dan Kelly in the National Hockey League has been his friend. And that's something, when you look down the list, and the county supervisor said a few names, and I was talking with Jack Buck before, and, you know, it's amazing in St. Louis, and some even before my time, but Buddy Blattner, Harry Carey, Jack Buck, Mike Shannon, Jay Randolph, Dan Dierdorf, Bob Costas, Dan Kelly. I mean, where in the United States would you have grouped a bunch of announcers of the caliber of these people? And I think Dan's stamp of integrity is certainly indelible with every St. Louis Blues fan. And Dan, I know you're there with your brother Hal, and good luck from all of us. It's been great knowing you, and I hope we can know each other for another 31 years.
When Dan Kelly's doing a game, I can shut my eyes and I can see the hockey game. Your old friend and mine, the late Bill Jennings, conceived of this award in the name of the great man Lester Patrick, who did so much for hockey, particularly in New York. And the award is for contribution to hockey in the United States. And if you think about it, you think about the number of people that this great communicator reached out and told about the game of hockey, its thrills, its excitements, its ups and downs, and the wonderment and the love of this most great game in the world. Nobody, Dan, nobody deserves the Lester Patrick Award more than you. I told you today when I was out visiting you and gave you the trophy that I was an Indian giver because I was going to take it back, because tonight we're going to present it in front of all your friends and present it to your son who's following in your footsteps, who all of us are proud of, and I know you are especially proud of. And with that, if John Kelly would come forward on behalf of his father. Dan, this is for you, the Lester Patrick Award, 1988-1989. Keep her going, Dan. Great job, Jackson. I know it's good.
And Van Imp, who has broken his stick, is back to get it, lost it to McCreary. He's in with Berenson. Berenson shoots. He scores! Berenson has scored his fifth goal, and the Blues lead 5. The redhead. Ahead for McCreary. Van Imp lost it to Berenson. Berenson has a break.
That's Brett Hall as he picks up the puck. He'll go round the net, move the puck to the front of the net, and the troubles start for the Islanders. There's the puck as it goes out loose. Stepping in quickly, Mike Lawler, newly acquired from the Montreal Canadiens, the defenseman, his second goal of the season, makes it 1-0 at 12:04. This one-timing shot by Doug Evans. He scored 5 goals all last year. Evans, the 25-year-old left winger, gets his 7th of the season. Richter is in the penalty box. The Islanders are on a power play to start the second period.
And they have moved the puck into the St. Louis zone. Volek in forechecking, knocks it away from Mahar. Flatley picks it up. Back to Janssen, in off Volek, and it ricocheted right to Lawler. To Mahar at center ice, slipped away from him, recovered by Flatley. Patrick Flatley leads the Islanders into center ice. Shoots one from the center ice stripe that went wide. Sutter after it. Brent Sutter sends Volek back in the net. Now to Flatley. Flatley to Janssen to Flatley. Lets it go. Millen the save. Loose puck. Volek frees it up. It comes back to Norton. Then to the point for Janssen. Into Flatley. Back it goes to Norton. To Janssen. Centered one in front. That's broken up by Lawler. Lawler backhands it through center, and the Islanders have to chase it. 24 seconds remaining in this man advantage. Norton coming from back of the net. Carries the puck to center. Shot it wide of the Blues goal. Gordy Roberts back for it. Clears it out to center ice. Norton picks it up there. Feeds it to Janssen. To Norton. Up to Delgarno. Went off his skates. Picks it up again. A backhander is cleared aside by Tilley. Roberts is there, and the teams are at 6 aside again. Roberts playing it up the left wing boards for Mahar. Goes cross ice with a pass off the stick of Herkus. Delgarno recovers back of the Islander net. Brad Delgarno fires it down the ice. They rule the Blues touched it, so there will be no icing call. Tilley to Herkus, relayed it to Vasilevsky on right wing. Vasilevsky goes to the corner. A check by Delgarno, and Derek King picks up the loose puck. King starts down the right side, comes over center ice, trying to cut around Roberts. Holds it in the St. Louis zone, centered. LaFontaine had it knocked away from him. The Blues start back with a pass to Gino Cavallini at center ice. Long shot grabbed by Rudy. Dropped it for Bergevin. Bergevin up the left side, held in at the point. Tilley dumps it back of the net. There for it is Diddick to Trottier. Pulled it away from a check, then lost it. It's loose in front. Rudy down, and Paslowski played it back of the goal. Mark Bergevin sends Alan Kerr over center ice. Right side to Trottier. Can't get through the traffic. Matters not. The play was offside. 17.5 minutes remaining in the second period. You're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel.
One shot on the power play, what was left of it at the beginning of the period. They just do not seem to get anything going. They can't seem to put anything together. Even 2 passes now seems to be something that you don't expect the Islanders to do. Here's Greg Gilbert. I think that's the first time he's been out this game.
Now the puck bouncing in front of the Islander net, and DeMaio brings it out. Slipped it to Gilbert on left wing. Gilbert drops it back to Pilon. Pilon trying to center one that hit Benning. Blues played up the boards. Fedorko could not get a stick on it. Pilon does, and promptly puts it back in the Blues zone. There's Richter to the right side off the stick of Greg Gilbert. It comes to center ice. Fedorko to Mahar, who is moving up. Comes over the line with a shot. He scores!
Randy Wood with his first shift. Greg Gilbert with his first shift. And the St. Louis Blues make it 3-0. Mahar takes a pass from Bernie Fedorko using his speed at 35. There's the shot. It may have deflected off the Islander defenseman, changed direction slightly, but it's inside the goalpost to the left of Kelly Rudy. Here's Mahar as he races across the blue line. Nyland in front of him. You can see the reaction of Kelly Rudy. He was well out of the net. The puck got to him a little sooner, but also, I believe, he did not get the good look at it with Nyland standing about 20 feet in front of him.
So Mahar from Fedorko at 3:07. They're back over the line with Hull shooting, and the glove save by Kelly Rudy.
That's the kind of a thing that clues you in to the fact that that shot by Mahar should, under normal circumstances, not have beaten Kelly Rudy. Hull, who shoots the puck much, much harder. Here's Hull, a right-handed shooter, and he blisters it from about 25 feet. Kelly Rudy picks it off easily. That has to tell you something about the shot that beat him. When Mahar let it go from much further out, Nyland must have been screening him.
Mahar's goal is 14th. Fedorko got an assist along with Modesto. Modesto just now being credited with an assist on that goal. Make it 3-0 St. Louis. That's 11 unanswered goals that the Blues have scored against the Islanders in this arena. The Islanders won the only visit in here a year ago, beat the Blues 4-3. Being told that 8-3 add up to 12. I don't think so, could it? Well, 8-0 the last time here. And at center ice, Volek drops it back to Diddick. His shot is a stick save by Millen. Paul Cavallini flips it down into the Islander zone, bounces into Rudy's catching glove. Held it a long time without a whistle, then played it to the left side. Bergevin stick handling through center over the St. Louis line, dropped it back to Dalgarno, and his shot went off Robert's stick. Bergevin from back of the net to the point for Janssen. Kick save by Millen, and the puck comes to center ice. Janssen with it. The boys in the truck read the paper today. Do not always trust the newspapers. They had Dewey beating Truman. Remember, guys? It was 8-0. Makela with it at center ice. Tilly with it at center ice. Hey, if you can't have fun at the old hockey game, why come, right?
Well, listen, it depends on whose books you're looking at anyway.
Sure. Now Janssen moves the puck into the corner. Goes back for it as it was in Nyland's skates. Nyland ended up putting Evans on the deck as Janssen brings the puck out. The pass to Gary Nyland. Dumps it in from center. Dillon plays it to the goal line for Roberts. Now to Evans, over to McKegney, out in the middle, all alone as Herkus comes over the line, in around Rudy, and shoots and scores.
Tony Herkus, he was one of the scorers back on December the 1st in the 8-0 hockey game. He gets one here. Beautiful pass by Tony McKegney, who opened the scoring in that hockey game. There's the pass by McKegney. Here's Herkus racing down. He faked. That holds Kelly Rudy well out of the net. Kelly Rudy was expecting a shot. Look at the sharp angle. Beautiful shot by Herkus into the far corner, just inside the goalpost, with very little room to put it in. He found the netting, and it's a 4-0 lead.
Tony Herkus, his 15th of the season. 5 minutes and 18 seconds into the second period, and the Blues with a big 4-0 lead. Evans gets an assist along with McKegney. Now Alan Kerr checked by Richter as he went to the side of the net. King puts it in front. That's cleared aside and brought out by Gino Cavallini. Cross-ice pass was tipped by Paslowski to Fedorko, to Paslowski to Cavallini. Grabbed out of the air by Rudy. Plays it up the right side. Kerr got turned around. Here's Fedorko centering one that hit Pilon. Pilon to King. Turns in his own zone as the Blues come into forecheck. Trottier got it up to Alan Kerr at center ice. Over the St. Louis line, trying to go around Benning. Kerr gets checked in the corner. Paslowski plays it to the left side. Trottier bumped as the puck comes out to center ice, and Norton is back. Norton playing it in on a delayed offside. The Islanders slow to regain the blue line, and the Blues feed it up the right side. Paslowski into the Islander territory is checked. The puck cleared by Bergevin to Sutter. Sutter goes cross ice just ahead of Volek, races in to pick it up. David Volek centers. It's knocked down at the Blues defense, recovered by Brent Sutter. Sutter trying to get away from Richter. Now Makela arrives on the scene, put it out in front, right through the skates of Diddick and down the ice. Rudy plays it sharply to center for Volek. To Makela. His pass off Fedorko's stick. Here's Brett Hull stepping over the line. Diddick takes him to the boards. Hull shakes the check, but then turned the puck over to Volek. David Volek. Backhand pass intended for Sutter. Broken up at the blue line by Paul Cavallini. Cavallini and Diddick pot at one another. The puck goes to Delgarno. Off his stick, right to Paul Cavallini. To the right side for Brett Hull. Big slap shot wide of Rudy. Comes to the right wing boards, and Brad Delgarno brings it down to center. It's knocked away by Lawler and put back in the Islander zone. Picked up after being knocked down with a high stick, so play is called. The Blues, after a 2-0 first period lead, are up 4-0. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. Be ready for a face-off in the circle to the left of the Islander net. LaFontaine out with Delgarno and King. Thomas Janssen with a pass to Delgarno, and the Islanders come to center ice. Backhanded one in off the arm of Paul Cavallini. Fontaine put it in the corner. It's picked up by Ronning. Up to Momesso. Momesso, one of 5 former Montreal Canadiens in the Blues lineup tonight. Puck goes around to Ronning, to Momesso, centered. Nobody there for the Blues, and it's cleared by Delgarno. Cavallini back in his own territory. Turned it over to Derek King, to LaFontaine with a shot that went wide. Here's Brad Delgarno putting it in front. King couldn't get a stick on it. Now LaFontaine gets it right back to him, to the point to Janssen. Janssen shot, deflected wide, comes out in front, and LaFontaine golfed it wide of the net. This is Derek King to Pat LaFontaine, and got away from him. He's picked up by Mahard. He dumps it to center ice for Momesso. Momesso with Ronning. They step over the line. Momesso plays it off the glass. Rudy out of the net. Played it over the head of Derek King and out to center ice. Blues with a 4-0 lead. Ronning putting it in the Islander zone. Janssen back for it now. Thomas Janssen to Brian Trottier. Gets around Paslowski. Comes to center ice and dumps one in. The Islanders going for a player change. Flatley went in after the puck. Cleared by Roberts. Stolen as Flatley gets one away. That drifted wide of Millen. Here's Gerald Diddick backhanding one up in the air. Millen hugging the right post has made the save and held on to it. We pause now for a regional break. Fans awaiting a face-off in the St. Louis end of the ice. Brian Trottier steps in, won the draw, got it back to Bergevin for a shot that deflected wide. Trottier with Wood and Flatley. Trottier had the puck knocked away. He's into the center ice zone, and there's Gino Cavallini. Fedorko moves in after it. Ernie Fedorko gets knocked down in the play, and Flatley starts out. Fedorko yelling at the referee as Flatley put the puck on Trottier's stick. Backhanded one toward the net that was blocked at the defense. Tilly reaching in. Flatley centered. That's cleared aside. Gino Cavallini sends Fedorko to center. Dumps it down into the Islander zone. Rudy playing with it back of the net. Now moves it up the left side to Wood. On to Flatley. DeMille just out on a player change. Comes over the line, and that puts everything offside.
Take a look at Sports Channel's out-of-town scoreboard this afternoon. Boston defeated Edmonton 5-2. In the second period, Calgary lead Washington 2-1. Quebec 6-1 over Pittsburgh in the third period. Hartford leads Winnipeg 4-1 in the second. Montreal in the second period ahead of New Jersey 5-2. Toronto leading Philadelphia 4-1 in the second period. And Detroit playing at Minnesota, they lead the North Stars 3-0, excuse me. That's in the second period.
Boy, the Flyers missed Dave Brown more than I thought they would.
Yeah, gee, when you think about it, there's out of the Wales Conference, there seems to be an exodus of the aggressive players. Think of Boston, Montreal, Philadelphia, Quebec. They're shifting them all over to the other division, I suppose.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it? Jay Miller goes to Los Angeles. You've got Donnelly from Quebec to Winnipeg earlier on, and now this week Edmonton acquires Dave Brown from Philadelphia.
Kordic goes to Toronto from Montreal. Black and blue division is switching.
So it seems. Norton chasing the puck into the St. Louis zone. DeMille had it knocked away. It comes to center ice, and Pilon puts it right back in again. Islanders regain the blue line as Benning goes for the puck. We're midway through the second period. Here's Brian Benning with it. Plays it up the left wing boards on into the Islanders zone. It's the Blues 4, the Islanders nothing. We've had only 2 penalties in the game, 1 to each team. Diddick's pass to Kerr, now to Rob DeMille. Steps over the St. Louis line, lost his balance. Puck goes to the corner for Gilbert. Greg Gilbert to Kerr. Was checked at the last second by Richter, and the Blues clear the zone. Bergevin shoots it right back in again. Ellen leaves it back in the net for Benning. Benning turned it over to Sutter, who had just come out on a change for the Islanders, but Herkus right on him. Moves it up to McKegney. Hip check thrown by Diddick, and McKegney went to the deck. This is Bergevin up to Brent Sutter. Sutter across the St. Louis line, left it for Volek. Rising shot was wide, comes out in front and swept back by Greg Millen. Brent Sutter after it. The Blues get control again, however, and here's Hull. Brett Hull turns it over to Volek. Drops it back to Sutter. Sutter across the line. Makela trailing, takes the puck from Sutter, went to center one, it comes back to David Volek. Volek steps out of the corner. Shot went off his stick and just wide of the net. Makela with Blues all around him. Now he's joined by Sutter. Brent Sutter jabbing at the puck. Referee Mike Magoo with a good look at it. Rules that it's still loose, and finally Tuttle gives it away to Volek. His shot deflected in front. Millen the save, and we watch the Blues start from back of the net. This is Mike Lawler. Lawler comes up the right side, hounded by Volek as he dumped the puck in. Rudy plays it to the left wing, out to center for Brent Sutter. Sutter takes a hit from Cavallini and right back at him. A delayed penalty call in effect here as Diddick goes after a loose puck. And now the referee Magoo calling the play with 8 minutes and 21 seconds left in the second period. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel.
Are having trouble controlling the puck along the boards. Cavallini takes him into the boards. Sutter looking for the puck, takes a whack at him with the stick. Cavallini skates away. There's a delayed penalty. The Islanders touch the puck. St. Louis going to a power play.
Second power play chance of the night for St. Louis. They hold the puck at the Islander line. Then Ronning moves in along the boards. Got it back to Benning. Over to Ronning. Ronning lets one go. Rudy the save. The puck comes loose, and Rudy down again has trapped another one. Brett Hull cruising through in front, picked up a loose puck. Flipped it toward what he thought was a vacated net, but Kelly Rudy saw it through some traffic. Another look.
There's Ronning with the original shot. Low, hard shot. Kelly Rudy makes the save. Then he can't control the rebound. Now he can't find it. Randy Wood comes in, tries to control it. He sweeps it out. Hull takes a shot. Kelly Rudy finally gets a hold of it and hangs on. The Islanders all pulling back around the net, allowing St. Louis some liberties with loose pucks bouncing in front of the net.
Blues hold it at the line again. It's Herkus to Hull. Back to the point for Benning. Into Ronning. Cliff Ronning carries it in a little deeper. Can't find anybody open. Centers it back to Herkus. Over to Benning. Into Ronning. Hull wide open in front. The pass across was tipped by Norton. Hull with it. Brett Hull has set up 2 goals tonight across to Benning, and he shot one high and wide of the net. It bounces back toward the point, controlled by Hull. Across to Brian Benning, into the corner now to Ronning. Ronning pulls it away from Wood. Spots Herkus moving in, and again the pass across is deflected. Herkus gets it to Hull. Hull at the blue line, over to Herkus. He was off balance and is able to maintain control of the puck, giving it to Brett Hull. Hull unloads one and just missed the net. Ronning went to center. A cross-check is being called. The net came flying off. Pilon and put the lumber into Fedorko. And the Islanders are going to be 2 men short.
Not a smart penalty for Richard Pilon to take. It was after the play was blown dead, just as the whistle had blown. Excuse me, Pilon, a cross-checking penalty. So the Islanders will be down 2 men now for 47 seconds, providing St. Louis do not put the puck in the net. That's Ronning, number 7. Hull was back at the point, covering up. That's Herkus as he falls to the ice. But over in front of the net, to the left of Kelly Rudy, Richard Pilon on Fedorko. Flattens him just after the whistle blows. Here's Hull. Watch him reach back. Watch how far back and upright the stick goes. There's the stop. The puck bounces back. There's the cross-check. Right there. The whistle had already blown as Fedorko gets flattened by Pilon, and the Islanders will be 2 men short.
For the 18th time this season, we'll play 2 men short. Rache out to take the face-off. Bergevin and Diddick, the Islander defense, and for the Blues, Brian Sutter, with his 2-man advantage, has Zezel between Fedorko and Hull. Back at the points, Benning on one side, Herkus on the other. It's already a 4-0 St. Louis lead over the New York Islanders. Linesman Pat Tupuzzo told us before the game that his parents didn't know where he was. I think he just won a bet with us mentioning that.
I told him to write a letter. They'll know by the postmark.
Tupuzzo out of New Jersey, of course, and his parents watching tonight's game on Sports Channel. Here's Benning over to Herkus, back to Benning. Into the corner, Fedorko opens the ice up a little with a pass back to Benning. Now to Herkus. Herkus to Benning, one-timed it. Rudy the save. The rebound is loose and Hull scores.
Benning with a hard shot. Then Peter Zezel with a rebound on the backhand. Kelly Rudy gets both of them. But Brett Hull standing to the right. There's the wide grin of right winger Brett Hull. That's Herkus. Benning. There's the shot. Stopped by Kelly Rudy. There's Zezel with a shot. Stopped by Kelly Rudy. Thank you very much. As Hull standing all alone to the right. The Islanders were down 2 men. Hull makes it 5-0. That's Brett Hull's 24th goal of the season. There's the backhand shot stopped as Zezel got a good chance to score, but Hull on the second rebound. Third actually makes it good.
Now Pilon has 1 minute and 27 seconds left in his cross-checking penalty. St. Louis with a 1-man advantage and a 5-0 lead. And Brent Sutter steals the puck at center ice, comes over the St. Louis line on a backhander. Millen the save, and the rebound is picked up by Benning. He got checked as Janssen moved in. Ronning has it for the Blues. Across the Islander line, tried to knife through some traffic. The puck knocked away is recovered by Ronning. Back to Herkus. Tony Herkus feeds the blue line. Benning right back to Herkus, and Brent Sutter knocks it away from him. Janssen chases it into the St. Louis zone. Benning reaches in to knock it loose. 47 seconds left in the St. Louis power play. Benning moved it to center ice. Paslowski into the Islander zone. Has given it to McKegney. To Herkus. To the right side for Paul Cavallini. A shot blocked and cleared by Nyland on a hand pass to DeMaio, and the whistle sounds. 5 minutes and 39 seconds remaining in this second period. Well, I guess as far as 3 of the 4 major New York daily newspapers are concerned, the Islander season is over. Coverage being provided now for the hockey fans in New York only by Newsday. Sherry Ross, the only reporter on hand. No sign of the Daily News of the Post or the New York Times tonight, 18.
No kidding. Barry Mizell not to be at an Islander game. My goodness. Steve Barenfeld from the Post give up on the Islanders also?
Well, I'm just reporting the fact that they're not here.
Oh, we're looking over our shoulder to the press corps.
Paul Cavallini moves it into the corner for Roberts. Back it goes to Cavallini, right side. Zezel's shot deflected, and Rudy out of the net. Plays it up along the glass, but not out of the zone. Here's Paul Cavallini. Peter Zezel comes off the boards. Into Federko, back to Zezel. Zezel waits on the edge of the circle, starts in with it. Holds it, played it back in the net. Federko centered. Here's Roberts cruising in. Centers, it's broken up by Brent Sutter, and the team's at 6 aside again. Pilon comes over center ice. Shot it into the St. Louis territory. Back for it is Roberts. Played it to the right side, and the Blues come to center ice. The move there by Brett Hull. Ran out of skating room, lost the puck. Bergevin shot one off Federko's skates. Zezel held it at the line. Now it's backhanded and deflected out to center ice. That's Lawler back. Off the boards, picked up by King. Steps over the St. Louis line with a shot. Millen the save, and then it jumped off his stick and into the corner. Lawler colliding with King. Meantime, Paul Cavallini tries the right side. There's Momesso. Sergio Momesso backhands it down the ice. Rudy left the puck for Bergevin. Pulls it away from Ronning. Back it goes to Gerald Diddick. Then up along the boards, and King cleared it to the line. The Blues with it again. Shooting it into the Islanders zone as Delgarno knocked Mahar off the puck. Diddick chases it. Diddick trying to get it away from Paul Cavallini. It's loose again. Went off Diddick. Gerald gets it to the point for Mikko Makela. Mahar right there. Now Paul Cavallini dumps it down. We have less than 4 minutes to go in the second period. Pilon works one off the boards, and Lawler is back for the Blues. Mike Lawler dumping it into the Islanders zone. They've had 5 different goal scorers. Lawler and Evans in the first period. Mahar, Herkus, and Hull here in the second. Brent Sutter trying to get through the defense. Does. Walks in. Centers one, and Volek scores. No, the light came on. The puck didn't go in the net. So the Blues are still up 5-0. Fans reacting, and again, Millen hears it from the crowd here. He has shut out opponents 5 times this season, including the Islanders when they were here early in December.
He had 184 minutes and 47 seconds of consecutive shutout time this season. Greg Millen.
Reportedly, coming out of the All-Star game this week, one of the rumors circulating was that the Los Angeles Kings had made a big offer to the Blues to get Millen. They'd like to have him on their squad. But the Blues lead 5-0. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel.
Remiss if I didn't remind ourselves that it's... Oh, here's the play a moment ago. The pass across Volek. Look at the puck. It rolled outside the net, outside the goalpost. That's the way things have been going for the Islanders. When they do get a scoring opportunity, Robin Finn, the New York Times, not here either.
Patrick Flatley's shot off the side of the net, and the Blues cleared out into the center ice zone. That's Diddick going back. Portions of tonight's game are being brought to you by EAB, the bank for Long Islanders, where you belong. Millen played the puck to the right side, and the Blues dump it out to center ice. Diddick to Bergevin. Up along the boards, it ends up in the St. Louis zone, rolling wide of the net. Millen tapping at it. Roberts plays it up the left side. This is Evans. Giving it to Herkus. Couldn't get around Richard Pilon, and Patrick Flatley sends it to Trottier. 3 Blues back. Trottier trying to carry it across the line. Centered one in front off McKegney. Trottier with it in the corner. Bumped by Roberts. There's Herkus. It's knocked away from him. Loose in the corner for Kerr. Centers it out in front off Wood's stick right to Evans. Evans and Herkus move over center ice. Pilon stepped in front of Evans as the puck goes back to the Islander net. It's picked up by Norton. Norton comes out on this right side. Cuts to the left. Into the St. Louis zone through some traffic, but without the puck. Federko dumps it out through center ice. Gino Cavallini moving in after it. Pilon gave it to Kerr. Now across to Greg Gilbert. Gilbert's pass into center ice picked off by Gino Cavallini. To Fedorko, finds some skating room, shoots Rudy the save, and the rebound was cleared by Norton. Fedorko trying to center one. That hit Jeff Norton. Gives it to Alan Kerr. To Greg Gilbert. Gilbert steps over center ice. Into the St. Louis zone. Ran into Lawler's check. Up to Fedorko. Fedorko into the Islanders zone with Gino Cavallini. Cross ice pass picked off and cleared out by Norton. That's going to go the length of the ice, and we'll get a whistle here. You're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel.
Islanders with 11 here in the second period. The St. Louis Blues with 10. You would be thinking that it's not 5-0. The Islanders have been outscored 3-0 in the second period. See, the Islanders change. It seems to be they change much faster than other teams. And that is, of course, the tension that they're under, being behind most of the time and not playing with the puck as often. Very tiring way to play the game. So the Islanders seem to be changing lines more than the other teams more often.
Yeah, Larber making a change on this forward line as we watch Makela move in. He shoots. That hit the goalpost. A late penalty call coming against St. Louis. Puck still loose in the blue zone as it comes back. Diddick trying to center one. It's picked off. And now referee Mike Magoo showing the signal for an interference penalty. Only 22 seconds left in the second period. Mentioning the change on the forward line, Makela was out there with Volek and Brent Sutter, replacing Flatley on the right side, but Makela walking out of the corner draws this penalty.
Brent Sutter, Tomiko Makela. It's Gordy Roberts, number 4, with the penalty for interference there on David Volek. You can see him take Volek down as Makela gets the play at the net. Millen, at one time Sports Channel's Greg Millen, worked for Sports Channel New England. Goaltender. Penalty goes to Roberts, Gordy Roberts. Another one of the Montreal acquisitions by the St. Louis Blues.
So the Blues shorthanded. Roberts for interference at 19:38. Zezel puts the puck into the Islanders zone. It's Mahar with it, but they ruled that he got control, putting the play offside. The Blues come to the Nassau Coliseum next Thursday night. Edmonton is in on Tuesday. St. Louis on Thursday, and next Saturday at 5:05, the Philadelphia Flyers. Boy, Quebec is beating up on Pittsburgh 7-1 tonight. That game is in Quebec City. Penguins taking the night off, resting perhaps for Calgary's visit in Pittsburgh tomorrow night. You'll see that game on Sports Channel America. Diddick with a long shot from center, grabbed by Millen, and that's the end of the second period. So through a total of 100 minutes, Greg Millen has shut out the New York Islanders this season. Kelly Rudy was not even in St. Louis the last time the two teams met. So now he knows what it's all about. But Millen has been brilliant, and then the goalposts have come to his rescue when he has been just a little bit shaky on occasion. But at the end of 2 periods of play, it's the Blues 5 and the Islanders no score. Back with a recap. And that's the nature of this game on any given night. Greg Millen making his 8th consecutive start in goal against the New York Islanders. Kelly Rudy, career record of 4-1-1 in jeopardy. This game here at the arena.
Didn't the Chicago Blackhawks do that not too long ago against the Winnipeg Jets? Didn't they get 6 goals in the last period? Come back to win a hockey game?
That's right, they did. Janssen and Diddick on the points. Roberts is in the penalty box for interference, and LaFontaine brings the Islanders across the line. Goes back to the net with the puck, out to Brent Sutter, to the point for Thomas Janssen. Back to Sutter. Brent lets one go off LaFontaine's skates and picked up and cleared by Mahar. Rudy slides out of the net. Still a minute and 12 seconds remaining in this Islander power play.
Good example, Jake. The Islanders worked well. They worked hard. They got the puck into St. Louis's end of the ice. They moved it around, and they never got a shot. The puck ended up back in their end of the ice without getting an attempt, even, at Greg Millen in goal.
Now Volek carries it back of the net. Volek to Sutter. Comes out in front. Shot it off the stick. Goaltender Greg Millen went through some traffic and is brought out to center ice by Mike Lawler. Dumps it in. Now 40 seconds remaining in this man advantage. Herkus into forecheck. Took it away from Diddick. Tony Herkus sidesteps the check of Diddick. Turns in the corner. Janssen picks him up. And Diddick plays the puck up the right wing boards. LaFontaine let it go to Flatley. Back to LaFontaine. Over the blue line to Volek, and it went off the heel of his stick. Flatley picks it up in the corner. Volek calling for it at the side of the net. The pass would be on the money, except that Tom Tilley had it all figured out. Read the play perfectly. Here's Flatley at center, dumping the puck in. 5 seconds to go on the man advantage, and the Blues just dump it down the ice. So the Islanders, without anything on the power play, without so much as a shot on goal here in the third period with the man advantage. Norton has given it to Trottier. Flips it in around Richter. Tilley chasing it. Fedorko picks up a loose puck. Played it around the glass. It went off Norton, who reached in, but Paul Cavallini takes control and puts it up into the seats. We're 2 minutes into the third period at St. Louis. You look at number 17, Gino Cavallini. The two brothers here, Gino and Paul, one having come in a trade from Calgary, the other in a trade from the Washington Capitals. One of the funnier stories going around earlier this year about Calgary with the possibility of acquiring John Van Beesbrook at one time. Reporter said no, he'd have to go to St. Louis first. So many deals between Calgary and St. Louis, the more recent, of course, being the trade for Doug Gilmour. Bullard coming here, and then Bullard eventually going on to Philadelphia for Peter Zezel.
Interesting to note also that Gino Cavallini was at Bowling Green State University.
Flatley dumping the puck into the blue zone. Wood in after it. Trottier nudged it loose. Flatley into the corner to Trottier. Puts it back of the net for Wood. Randy Wood trying to center. It's knocked down and brought out by Fedorko. Checked by Flatley. Wood got tripped up by Fedorko. Trottier centers the puck. Cleared by Lawler off Bergevin's stick, and it's loose back in the Islanders' zone. Gerald Diduck will pick it up. Diduck around the boards to Kerr, who has just come out on a player change. Dropped it back into Bergevin. To LaFontaine. Tipped it into the St. Louis zone, but there's Benning. Ryan Benning to Fedorko. Diduck down on both knees, was able to knock it loose. Then he stepped into Cavallini, but Fedorko unleashes one that's wide of the net. Richter held it at the right point. Around behind the net to Fedorko. Rudy tipped that aside. Here's Alan Kerr. Giving it to Greg Gilbert. Gilbert across the line, got Richter turned around. Now centers one off the stick of Millen. Kerr got a swipe out, couldn't make contact. LaFontaine steals the puck. Puts it in the corner. Kerr and Benning collide on the boards, and here's Bernie Fedorko. Got it to Paslowski, played it to the line, held in by Pilon. Centered one off LaFontaine and wide. This is Fedorko for St. Louis. Comes down left wing and dumps it in from center ice. He was spilled on the play by Pilon. Meantime, Norton back for the puck. Has given it to Volek. Now to Sutter. 4 Blues strung out at the line. Sutter knifed his way around Evans. The puck cleared to the corner for Volek. Went to center it off Herkes, however, and it's picked up by Evans. To McKegney at center ice. Backhands it into the Islanders zone over the head of Norton, who turns and goes back. Sidestepped the check of Evans. Then Volek had the puck knocked loose. Evans turns it over to Richard Pilon. Up the boards, intercepted by Herkes. To Evans, who fed it to the point. Roberts passes one across, but behind McKegney. And it's Jeff Norton for the Islanders, feeding it up the boards, but not out. Tilley plays it back of the goal. There's Herkes in the far corner. Evans calling for it out in front. Makela stepped in front and broke up the pass. 3-on-2 as the Islanders come to the St. Louis line. Makela to Volek, got checked on the play, and McKegney breaks out. Has Roberts with him as he steps over the line. Drop pass. Taken out on the boards with a pretty good check was Tony Herkes. And it's Diduck for the Islanders, putting it in the skates of Bergevin. Blues dump it right back in. It's picked up by Mark Bergevin. LaFontaine out with King and Delgarno for the Islanders. At LaFontaine over center ice. On into the St. Louis zone, pulling to the left. LaFontaine came out in front. The puck goes back to Diduck. Diduck with a drive that deflected and went wide of the net. LaFontaine tips it out to center, and Bergevin lost it, then reached in and knocked it away from Hull. LaFontaine pokes it back down into the St. Louis zone. This is Lawler. Here on the right side, Paul Cavallini dumps one off the glass. Pilon got to it at center ice. The Blues take it away from him, and Tuttle forces the Islanders back into their own zone one more time. Rudy works it up along the boards. Here's Derek King, his second game after a stint with Springfield of the American Hockey League. King to LaFontaine, got over the line to Brad Delgarno. He shoots Millen, the save. The puck comes right back. The net comes off, and the puck Ends up on the boards. The Islanders come close again, but no cigar. You're watching the National Hockey League on Sports Channel.
Derek King, his pass intercepted, finally overhandling the puck that time, going to Brad Delgarno. It was Pat LaFontaine. Delgarno with a good scoring chance. Puck bounces high over the net. The Islanders, first time they've had a good opportunity in quite some time.
Now the play still in the St. Louis zone. Randy Wood trying to put it back to the net. Mahar plays it up the boards on the right side for Momesso. Ian Ronning come over the line. Momesso got checked by Pilon. Richard Pilon lugs it down the left side into the St. Louis zone, and it's offside.
Randy Wood offside that time. Richard Pilon doing a good job defensively, stealing the puck, heading up the ice, but Randy Wood steps across the line, killing the forward motion for the Islanders. Al Arbor, was he upset after the game last night? He was steaming. Game that he thought that they had a chance to either pull out a tie-in, I suppose at one time, almost at any time, the way the game was going. Islanders could have won the hockey game. Near the end of the game, some of the players that I suppose a coach has the right to rely on certain players, particularly as veteran players, to not make the kinds of mistakes that were made near the end of the hockey game that were costly.
Now there's a delayed penalty call coming. The puck went out of play, and you see the indication from referee Mike Magoo. 13 minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the third period. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel.
Actions that the Islanders have been able to produce flatly behind the net. There's Tilley pulling down Brian Trottier, getting an interference penalty, so the Islanders get a power play. Lots of time, 13:38. Lots of time in the period. Not a lot of time if you're looking at the mountain in front of them. 5 goals.
Third power play of the game for the Islanders. They trail 5-0 in St. Louis. LaFontaine out with Delgarno and King as the forwards. Johnson and Didick on the points, but the Blues handling the puck in their own zone. Here's Tuttle to Zezel. Plays it back in to Paul Cavallini. Skies it out through center and on into the Islanders zone. Rudy will leave the puck for Didick.
That all started, Jiggs, when the Islanders passed to Brad Delgarno. He was the only forward moving towards St. Louis's end of the ice. The other players were all back around the blue line. He gets checked in the center ice area, and then things break down. St. Louis end up with more time handling the puck than the Islanders.
And Zezel has cleared it out again. Johnson will chase it. Rudy way off in the corner, tips it to Johnson. Didick was on Herkus, and now Johnson gives the puck to LaFontaine. Comes over the line, pulls up on the board, centered one. It's tipped back to Didick. That's a goal. Blocked by Millen. The rebound hammered and deflected wide of the net as Volek got one off. Volek up front with Makela and LaFontaine, and now Sutter comes out to replace Pat LaFontaine. Breakout pass to Volek, back to Brent Sutter. Sutter moves over the St. Louis line, passed it just out of the reach of Makela. Stays in the St. Louis zone, however. Mikko Makela in the corner. To Sutter, Richter all over him. Mahar there as well. The Islanders continue to battle for the puck, but the Blues get to it. They play it to Herkus, and he clears the ice.
That's a small indication, but an important one. The Islanders there outmanning St. Louis, but St. Louis come up with the puck. Maybe they're just working a little harder.
Would be the indication. So much of the Islander problem is when things go bad, and it's not like it's every game. You think back last weekend in the game in Quebec City on Sunday night, especially the last part of the third period. Very cohesive hockey club, moved the puck well, took the man, did the things that you expect them to do. And all of a sudden they show up in Chicago last night and here again tonight as a group of strangers.
Well, they are, and they're not skating well. I mean, an indication from the beginning is how well is the team skating. If the team is skating well, generally that'll take care of a lot of the little errors they make with some passing. But on the other side of it, they'll pass better when they are skating. I just don't think the team skates that well. And when they don't skate well, things really break down. Their errors are so magnified. Somebody makes an error, and then all of a sudden there's a scoring opportunity for the opposition.
And a pretty good illustration right there following the draw. Brent Sutter and Norton got crossed up in communication as to who was going to handle the puck. Elon dumps it into the corner. Brent Sutter trying to center it. Team's back at 6's side again, and the puck comes to center ice for Pilon. Over to Jeff Norton, steps into the St. Louis zone and is checked immediately. The Blues played up the boards to Tilly, skirted the check of Pilon, and Rudy comes out. Played it to the right side. Tilly with it again, back to the blue line. Cavallini puts it in the corner. Vasilevsky gets checked on the boards, knocked down by Brent Sutter. Makela takes Norton's pass, gave it to Richard Pilon. Pilon puts it in the St. Louis zone. There's Lawler. The boards. Cavallini relays it into the Islander zone. Rudy leaves it for Richard Pilon. 11 minutes remaining in the third period. St. Louis up 5-0 on home ice. Gilbert playing the puck out to LaFontaine. Comes over the St. Louis line. At LaFontaine, ridden into the corner by Dave Richter. Gilbert goes in as well. The puck loose. Fedorko got a stick on it. Gave it to Benning. Banked one off Gilbert, and it comes to center ice. Diddick drops back. Gave it to Gilbert. Back to Diddick. Diddick with a pass to Greg Gilbert. Steps over center on into the St. Louis zone. Is bumped by Cavallini, and the shot by Kerr is turned aside. Good save again by Greg Millen. The Islanders unable to hold it in the St. Louis zone. Now Bergevin puts it back in. Brought out by Benning. Shots on goal are 24-23 favor of the Blues. There's McKegney shooting one wide of the net. Picked up by Trottier. Around to Diddick. Right side to Kerr. He had to turn around to try and accept the pass, and that just means that nothing happens. Now Bergevin to Trottier. Trottier banks it off the boards. Flatley at center ice, putting it into the St. Louis zone right to Millen. Steered it to Benning. Up to McKegney. Turned it over to Pilon. His shot right on is scooped up and held by Millen, and there's no further play. We pause now for a regional break. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel.
The game at Montreal, the New Jersey Devils were down 5-0. They've closed within one. It's now 5-4 in the third period.
Here in St. Louis, still 5-0. The Blues in front of the Islanders. Peter Zezel is waved out of the face-off area. Blues discuss who will take the draw, and Brett Hull wins the decision. Trottier beats him, getting it back to Norton for a shot. Change direction in front, and the Blues come up with it. They clear it out to center. Norton is there. Pass to Randy Wood. He's given it to Flatley. Steps over the line for a shot. Stick saved by Millen. It comes off the glass. Jumps over the stick of Flatley. Now it's centered to Trottier for a shot. Millen has it, and there's no further play.
Quick shot by Brian Trottier. Randy Wood gets him the puck. He along with Flatley. Working well in the corners. Here's Flatley earlier. Shot goes wide of the net. Randy Wood comes in quickly. Here, passes to Trottier. Trottier has little time, but the puck rolling. He gets it up a little high, and Millen has no trouble making the save. That's the 24th save for Millen. There's Claire Arbor. Bill Torrey, obviously on the right. Claire Arbor here for the funeral services of Dan Kelly, which will be on Monday. Of course, Dan Kelly and his family very close. Claire close to the Kellys.
You know, there are so many scenes, so many different storylines, I guess, on life as it goes round day by day. But it was a year and 1 day after the passing of Barclay Plager that Dan Kelly lost his battle with cancer. Barclay had fought the disease for so many years. His number retired, hanging in the rafters here. Al Arbor's old number is also in the rafters, number 3. It was retired after the tragic death of Bob Gassoff. Al was the first St. Louis player to ever wear number 3. Gassoff the last. The other one hanging in the rafters was put up there this season. Brian Sutter's number 11. Momesso chasing a loose puck in the Islander zone. It's knocked away from him. Picked up by Pat LaFontaine. He's given it to Bergevin. Steps across the line. Bergevin drops it back. Derek King with a shot. Turned aside by Millen. Mahar plays it around behind the net. That's Brent Sutter chasing it. The Blues have not had a shot on goal in the third period. And we played 11.5 minutes of the third period. It's 5-0 St. Louis. They were up 2-0 at the end of the first. 5-zip at the end of the second. Johnson steps in front of Herkus. Pilon takes the puck out of the corner and starts out with it. The pass tipped by Makela. And Richter plays it off Cavallini back into the Islander zone. There's Rudy.
Skies went off the glass, and they ruled that it hit the glass, so there is no delay of the game penalty. We pause now. The 3 uniform numbers retired here in St. Louis, 8, 11, and 3. We'll show you when we get an opportunity as the Islanders start out of their own zone. The pass up to Makala. Shoots one from the blue line just wide of Millen. Volek with the rebound. Let's it go, and that drifted wide. Millen looked toward him after he had taken the shot. In the meantime, Norton dumps it right back in. Millen blocks it, gives it to Benning. Up to Paslowski, tipped it into center ice, and Fedorko dumps it in for St. Louis. Back-to-back games for the Islanders and the Blues in the first of a back-to-back situation themselves. They go to Buffalo tomorrow night. The Islanders' record on the second night of these back-to-back scheduling things: 3 wins, 9 losses, and no ties. 2 of the wins coming on the road. For instance, last Sunday night in Quebec after the game at home on Saturday. Brent Sutter playing it back into his own zone. Rudy works it around to the left side for David Volek. Now to Brent Sutter. Sutter pulls it back into his own territory, gives it to Bergevin. Plays it out through center ice. Paul Cavallini back for the Blues. Lifted up to Fedorko, and he put it into his own players bench. 6:53 the time remaining in the third period. The numbers, as we mentioned: number 8, worn by St. Louis defenseman Barclay Plager. Number 11, belonged to Captain Brian, or well, not the captain, but Brian Sutter, who's so instrumental in this team, and now the coach of the club. And the original number 3, Al Arbor wore, and then Bob Gassoff, who was killed in an off-season motorcycle mishap several years ago.
Fans getting themselves something to cheer about. Maybe they're giving themselves a hand. They're showing up in strength here in St. Louis again. It's such a good sign. It's that wonderful hockey town.
But again, the story circulating this year that the Blues may be moving to Milwaukee. And that has been regarded as pure, unadulterated
nonsense, yes.
Yes. By the owner, Mr. Mike Shanahan.
Said the only way the St. Louis Blues will be playing in Milwaukee might be in an exhibition game next fall.
And one of the great cities, one of the original expansion cities in 1967. Went to the Stanley Cup final each of the first 2 years. Zezel plays it across to Tuttle. Janssen trying to play it away from Peter Zezel, does, but Lawler puts it back in the Islanders' zone.
Think of some of the hockey players that have played here. Jacques Plante, Glenn Hall, Dickie Moore, Doug Harvey, Red Berenson, one of the first players, modern-day players, to score 6 goals in a hockey game.
And of course, Scotty Bowman. So many people think of Scotty in terms of the Montreal Canadiens, but he coached here and so successfully as well. The Blues lead the Islanders by a score of 5-0. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. Lined up for a face-off at the St. Louis line. Trottier with Flatley and Wood. Diddick and Norton together on defense. Al Arbor has given us a look at several different line combinations tonight, none of which have connected to put the puck by Greg Millen. But now Trottier comes over the line on right wing, and a rolling puck to contend with. Centered, it's grabbed out of the air and held by Millen. Flatley came in, a little off balance as he tapped the arm of Millen. The puck would not drop out of there in time for anything to happen before the whistle.
Not a lot of penalties either in a hockey game. No one bruising anybody. I'm sure that's an observation that Al Arbor will have made already and will point out possibly tomorrow. They practice. Team just never gets involved. You know, he loves to see his team hitting. He doesn't want to see the sticks up, but they have to get more involved. And for teams to be involved, they've got to be giving some and taking some. And that's what I'm talking about as far as clean checks, not running around with the sticks in the air. Seems that the Islanders, whoa, there's a close call.
Puck came off the boards crazily. Rudy went out to play it. Instead of it going behind the net, it went to the front of the goal. Trottier to the right side to Flatley. Taken out on the boards by Roberts check. Trottier played it in behind the goal, but there's Fedorko around to Tom Tilley. Now up to Paul Cavallini. Centered one at the Islanders blue line. Paslowski had knocked the stick out of Janssen's hands, and Rudy plays it blindly around the boards and got to Wood. Now to Trottier. Roberts knocks it away from him. Randy Wood up with it. Steps into the St. Louis zone. Played it to the right wing corner. Trache in after it. He and Richter there together. The puck went to Didick. Trying to center. Trache picks it up. Played it behind Delgarno. Trache on the deck, still unable to knock it away from Richter, however. And at center, it's Fedorko putting it into the Islanders' zone. Shots in the third period. The Islanders 11, the Blues 0. We have 4.5 minutes remaining in the period. LaFontaine checked Benning at center. Now McKegney plays it to the left side. Evans dumps it outside the Islanders' zone. McKegney has given it to Benning, and he shoots it on in. Rudy will leave it for Bergevin. Around the boards for Derek King. Now to LaFontaine. 3 Blues back. LaFontaine shot stick saved by Millen. And Cavallini banked it off the glass. Couldn't get it out of there. Loose puck. LaFontaine chased it. Couldn't get there in time. And that's Evans down the left side for the Blues. Evans trying to move in on Norton. Puts it back of the goal. LaFontaine riding hurt on McKegney. Derek King digs it out of the corner. Plays it around behind the net to Norton. Up the boards for Delgarno. Comes loose. Opportunity for Herkus. Dropped it to Lawler. He puts it back in the net. Norton is there. Jeff Norton lost it to Herkus. He centers one out in front. Came loose. McKegney reaches in. It goes to Evans. Evans takes some time. Lets one go. It's blocked by Norton. Delgarno chases it and clears the zone. This is Cavallini waiting with it. Steps over the line. Paul Cavallini, the first shot on goal for the Blues in the third period. You heard the crowd react. And Brent Sutter plays it across to Nyland. The Blues with a 5-0 lead. It's not in jeopardy by any means. The fans certainly would like to see a little better offense rather than the defensive display. The old line being the best defense is a good offense.
Under the circumstances, unfortunately for the Islanders, the offense presented to St. Louis doesn't require a strong defense.
Now Nyland playing the puck up along the boards and out to center ice. Brent Sutter to Makela. One thing in question is whether or not Greg Millen can post his 6th shutout of the season and raise his value in any deal that they may make or think about making with the Los Angeles Kings. But again, I repeat, that's rumor that came out of the All-Star meetings and the game in Edmonton this week. Didick has shot the puck into the Blues zone. Zezel trying to clear it out. It was held in by Didick to Brent Sutter. Held it, centered it to Volek. A shot right into the feet of the goaltender, and he clears it aside. And it comes out to center over the head of Bergevin, picked up by Zezel. Peter Zezel trying to cut in on goal. He shoots. Rudy the save. 1 minute, 58 seconds remaining in the third period. A big 0 up for the Blues. Goaltender Greg Millen has been outstanding. You're watching the NHL on Sports Channel. 16,909 on hand at the arena tonight. And saw Peter Zezel cut in on the Islander defense. Kelly Rudy went with him all the way and made a stunning save off Zezel. Stunning Zezel, I guess is what I should be saying. He thought he had Rudy beaten. Now loose puck in front of the Islander goal is tipped to Greg Gilbert. Kerr drops it back. Gilbert with a pass to LaFontaine. He picks it up in the St. Louis zone. Sharp angle shot is turned aside. Kerr lost it in the corner. Here's Rick Mahar. And at center ice, it's Momesso for the Blues to Cliff Ronning, who dumps it in. Rudy with it back of the net. Plays it up the right wing glass to Alan Kerr. Went off him. Shot right back in again by Lawler. This is Johnson with a pass out the right side to Kerr, on to Greg Gilbert, and went off his stick. Picked up by LaFontaine. Gilbert trying to get back on side after freeing himself from one of the Blues, and Bergevin gives the puck to Gilbert. Lost it at center ice, but Johnson is there. 1 minute, 6 seconds left in the third period. Now Gilbert. LaFontaine. Less than a minute to determine whether or not the Islanders will be blanked twice in St. Louis in one season. This is Fedorko handling the puck. Backhanded one in front. It slipped through as Paslowski shot it before it arrived. Jeff Norton dumps it out into center ice. Millen now 38 seconds away from his 6th shutout of the season. Flatley picking up a loose puck. Got checked in his own end of the ice. Bergevin throws it out to Trache, and that's going to be called on a hand pass, obviously. You look at Greg Millen in the St. Louis net, 31 years of age. Not only 117 goals, making his 8th consecutive start against the Islanders. The win will even his season record at 14 wins, 14 losses, and 5 ties.
Also be his 14th career shutout. Coming up. No, it'll be his 15th. He's already had his 14th. He recorded his 14th career shutout with a 3-0 win over Minnesota on December the 6th.
It's been some season for Greg Millen. He was 4-5-1 in games against the Islanders while playing at Hartford. 2-1-2 against them when he was a Pittsburgh Penguin goaltender. And he'll now be 4-5-3 against the Islanders while playing for St. Louis. And he's 13 seconds away from a goose egg.
Started out as a goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
5 seconds left. Fans count it down. The puck loose, rolling into the Islanders zone. They stand to applaud Greg Millen. Another 0, shutting out the Islanders 5-0. The Blues managed only 2 shots on goal in the 3rd period. The Islanders had 14, and in 2 trips into the arena in St. Louis, the Islanders give up 13 goals and can't get anything by number 29. So the celebration continues as the Blues have blanked Al Arbor's Islanders. You see the distress on the face of the coach. A tough weekend. His good pal Dan Kelly having passed away, and his team coming in here and not putting on the type of display that he had hoped for. Your final score is the Blues 5, the Islanders nothing, and we'll be back with a recap after we pause for these messages.